The Air India Flight 177 Boeing 787 Dreamliner crash that took place day before yesterday, there has been finally some investigation that is taking place after the black box has been found. But the question is how this black box will help to understand that how this strategy unfolded and this disaster occurred. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajirams and Ravi Simplified. My name is Shubhangi Singh and today we are going to understand that how important is this black box, how important it has been in solving such air accident and air crashes reason and making sure that they are not repeated ahead in time. So basically let us start with understanding the timeline of what had happened. So Boeing 787 Air India's flight 171 crashed in Ahmedabad just after the takeoff. Apart from the casualties of people on board, that was 242 people, there were other civilians who were injured because it collapsed, it crashed near a residential area and it was into a medical college hostel which is in a residential zone. Now, just after this, because there was immense fire and even at present the bodies that have been discovered, they are in such a status that they have to be matched with the DNA of their respective family members so as to ensure and recognize whom is associated with whom. But in this situation, it becomes very important to understand what went wrong. And in answering that mystery, black box is the key to this particular lock. Now, it has been found that finally the black box has been discovered and it was at the rooftop of the crash site, and finally the investigation has begun by Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau and they are leading the investigation with full force as of now, and it is considered and it has been called by the Civil Aviation Minister that it was a very important step so as to understand what went wrong, and it will be a crucial understanding moving from here on. Now that we have established the timeline, now let us move ahead and understand that what exactly is this black box. Now when we talk about the black box, don't go by the name. The black box is rather orange in color and it is placed in the tail of the airplane. Why? Because this is where, as per the research, as per the studies, it is found that the minimum possibility of damage is seen. Now this is the place where it is kept. Now black box has two major components. The first component is the cockpit voice recorder. The other component that we have is basically the flight data recorder. We'll be moving into more details here to understand what exactly is the purpose of both of these components. But now let us try to understand what exactly is a black box. Whenever we are talking about a durable flight, a recorder is placed in that flight. Now that recorder is the black box we are referring to, and this recorder records all the key flight and cockpit related data. It was invented by Dr. David Warren, and as I have mentioned before also that it has two major components. Other than that, another thing that I have mentioned before, that do not go by the name, the color of black box is not black, it is rather orange, and the purpose is to only understand what is the cause of aviation accidents, and it has been significant in understanding the reasons of major air crashes or air accidents that have taken place. We'll be looking into a few examples by end of this session. Now that we have understood what exactly is a black box, it is nothing but a recorder. Now what are the two components? I discussed the first component is the cockpit voice recorder, that is CVR. What it does, it makes sure that there is a proper recording data related to pilot conversations that have taken place, any alarms that have gone off during the flight, and the background sounds associated. The second part is basically for the understanding of flight data, which is a flight data recorder, also known as FDR. It records all the data associated with altitude, airspeed, heading, acceleration, pitch and roll angles. So when we are trying to understand that what exactly led to the crash or the accident, these two components become very important because they have all the data saved about what conversations happened between the pilots or what actually went wrong in the flight. Now, you must have a question in your mind, even if this data exists, how it must have survived the crash. Black box are made such that they are able to survive such extreme conditions. So, if we talk about both of these components, they are built to survive extreme conditions. What are such conditions? Let us look at these conditions. When we are talking about these conditions, the material is usually made of titanium and stainless steel casing so as to ensure they are able to survive impact resistance of up to 3400. Other than that, the fire resistance is usually 1100 degrees Celsius, that too up to for 60 minutes. So the casing is done to ensure the data present in the black box is preserved so as to that it serves its purpose of helping to understand the reason, the cause of the air accident. There is also pressure resistance of 6,000 meters. Even if the airplane crashes into a water body, it can resist up to 6,000 meters underwater of pressure, and it is placed, as I have mentioned, that it is placed in the tail of the aircraft because as per research and data, statistically it is the place which is safest or which has the possibility of minimum damage during the crashes. Unfortunately, in this particular air crash, it took a while to discover the black box, and finally the black box has been found yesterday. Now that black box has been found, it can help to solve the mystery behind that actually what went wrong, that the flight of Air India 171 crashed immediately after the takeoff. Now this is what makes the recovery of black box very crucial, that it helps in identifying if the crash, if it was a mechanical failure, if it was a human error, or it could be a weather or environmental related hazard. Now, once we have figured out, it is responsible in the coming times to ensure that such future disasters are prevented, and if there is any liability, that can be figured out. Now we have established what exactly is a black box, and I am sure you understand what is the importance herein, and this importance will not be just seen in this particular scenario, but it has been rather established in previous scenarios. For example, if we look at the Srivijaya Air Flight 182, if we talk about, it was in 2001, 2021, Indonesia. Now the black box was the reason that we were able to understand that it had a faulty auto throttle, which is an important part, and there was pilot error also involved. Apart from that, if you look at the recent incident, then we have Yeti Airlines Flight 691, which was in 2023. It was sent to Singapore for analysis. The black box was sent, and that's when it was realized there was a lever misconfiguration, and that is why engine led to thrust. Engine had to be stalled. There have been other scenarios as well. For example, China Eastern flight we had seen in 2022. We have PIA flight which was in Pakistan in 2020, and one of the recent ones, Azerbaijan Airlines Embracer, that was in December 2024, where it was through Brazil's decoding. The black box had to be decoded by Brazil, and it was figured out that, and it is yet to be figured out, that what was the reason for the shoot down or tech failure. These examples show us that how black box has helped in past to understand what led to these tragedies. At least there was an answer, and hopefully we will get able to get some in this particular scenario as well. That was all from my side. If you have any other questions or doubts, you can put it down in the comment section. That was all. Thank you so much.